From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 14th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,930. Antiwar.com reports Senator Rand Paul had to push heavily and very publicly against the Senate leadership to get even the limited debate that ultimately occurred on his amendment, aiming to revoke the 2001 authorization for the use of military force. The vote did not occur. In the middle of the debate, Senator Bob Corker moved to table the amendment, forcing an immediate vote. The Senate then voted to kill Paul's amendment by a vote of 61 to 36. The post-9/11 authorization for the use of military force has been interpreted broadly by U.S. presidents as allowing unlimited war-making powers against anything even loosely described as terrorism. Senator Paul argued that the authorization for the use of military force has wrongly been used to authorize 7 distinct wars, and that repealing it would force Congress to debate specific authorizations for specific wars as an alternative. While he'd hoped that this would bring in support not only from opponents of the war, but also from hawks eager to get their votes on the record to authorize these many effectively unauthorized wars, little support ultimately materialized. In addition to Senator Paul, speaking in favor during the debate were Senators Ben Cardin, Chris Murphy, and Dick Durbin. This was driven in no small part by objection from the Senate's Republican leadership. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell argued that supporting an all-volunteer military meant keeping the old authorization for the use of military force in place to prove Congress's support for all those wars. Many hawks, like Senator John McCain, were said to be concerned that new specific authorizations for the use of military force would limit the scope of America's wars, whereas the status quo is an authorization for the use of military force that isn't directly applicable and subsequently includes no direct limits that anyone is complying with. The vote on tabling the amendment is not necessarily indicative of where senators would have voted on Senator Paul's actual amendment. Senator Dianne Feinstein, for instance, opposed Corker's move to kill the amendment, but would have been unlikely to vote for the amendment itself. While the failure of the amendment does not preclude future efforts at passing new authorizations for the use of military force to cover America's many foreign wars, it makes such debates a less pressing matter. Talk of an authorization for the use of military force for the wars against the Islamic State, put off since the 2014 midterm elections for various reasons, can be expected to remain just talk, and no real advance on the effort is likely.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports 8 elderly patients died on Wednesday after being left inside a stifling South Florida nursing home that lost power during Hurricane Irma, prompting a criminal investigation and adding a tragic new dimension to mounting loss of life from the storm. The overall death toll from Irma climbed to 81 on Wednesday, with several hard-hit Caribbean islands accounting for more than half of the fatalities, and officials continue to assess damage inflicted by the second major hurricane to strike the U.S. mainland so far this year. Hurricane Irma killed at least 29 people in Florida, plus 7 more in Georgia and South Carolina combined, according to authorities. One of the most powerful Atlantic storms on record, Irma bore down on the Caribbean with devastating force as it raked the northern shore of Cuba last week before barreling into the Florida Keys on Sunday, packing sustained winds of up to 130 miles per hour. It then plowed north up the Gulf Coast of the state before dissipating. In addition to severe flooding in areas across Florida and extensive property damage in the Keys, one of the chief hardships facing Floridians has been widespread power outages that initially left more than half of the state without electricity. Some 4.2 million homes and businesses were still without power on Wednesday in Florida and neighboring states, down from a peak outage of about 7.4 million customers on Monday. The power losses had fatal consequences at the Rehabilitation Center at Hollywood Hills, a nursing home in Hollywood, Florida, just north of Miami. 3 elderly residents were found dead on Wednesday. 5 more patients from the nursing home later died at a nearby hospital. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.